Hey fam, what's good? I hope that you're well and keeping safe. Welcome back to another one. It is a brand new month filled with brand new opportunities for each and every single one of us. That fam, listen, throughout this week or over the course of tomorrow, I will find myself leaving a video, right, when it comes down to my Patreon page. So you know what? This is a platform to where we are gonna find ourselves, or where I'm finding myself sharing everything I found myself doing throughout the past 2 years whatsoever, right, till this day, that when it comes down to price action, right, I mean, you guys can find yourself seeing that what we are doing on this YouTube channel is quite valuable. If you are really finding yourself tapping into the charts and really listening and doing what I am finding myself saying, you will see that, you know what, 9 times out of 10, we are finding ourselves playing out how we want price to find itself playing out, right? So on my YouTube channel, I'm basically showing each and every single one of you how I am approaching the charts, right? But on the Patreon page, there is where we are finding ourselves having a more in-depth, detailed explanation of, you know, where I am finding myself coming from, as well as, you know what, my journal, to where you will have an entry methodology. So when I'm talking about a point of interest whatsoever, right, you will have a clear understanding of, you know, where I'm coming from when it comes down to a point of interest. So the Patreon page, I will leave a video of it over the course of tomorrow, right? So once we are finding ourselves reaching 50 participants inside the Patreon itself, right, this is when we are going to find ourselves having a, you know, unlocking an online session. And with the next 50, we're going to find ourselves unlocking another online session. The next 50, another online session, you catch my drift, right? So yeah, you know, that is another venture other than my actual YouTube channel. So, you know, if you guys want to find yourself, you know, supporting me on that journey as well, that would be highly, highly appreciated, right? But other than that, let's tap into what is happening inside the market. All right. So keep an eye out on that for tomorrow. Okay. So let's start off from our DXY. Right? Let's start off from the DXY. Make myself a little bit smaller. All right. So looking at the DXY, we can see that we are finding ourselves having some sort of a shift back towards the downside, right? And overall, we can also see that we are in somewhat of a range-bound market. I would consider this as a range-bound market, right? Looking at those lows, looking at the highs, we can see that we are finding ourselves having two respects at the highs, two respects at the lows as well. So as you guys know, me, Diego, when I see two or more respects at my areas of resistance and my areas of support, range bound, right? Range bound. So can we potentially find ourselves having that shift back towards the upside from this area onwards? Right? There is a high possibility for us basically doing that. And with us having the shift back towards the downside, we also find ourselves leaving this beautiful, beautiful order block right over there as well. So you know what, if we can see that shift back towards the upside, this will basically be a point of interest to where we can potentially see the DXY finding itself reaching back into, right? So let's scale down to our weekly time frame and see what is up, what is happening right over here. So if you haven't found yourself watching our breakdown of last week, please find yourself doing so, right? Please find yourself doing so. As we basically find ourselves looking at this area of, you know what, sell side liquidity right over there, as well as, you know what, sell side liquidity as it is coming through over here as well, right? So if I'm going to find myself getting to the daily time frame, it would be more clear. But we basically said that, you know what, can we find ourselves having some sort of a shift from these points of interest, right? And currently we can see that on the weekly time frame, we are having somewhat of an actual shift back towards the upside when it comes down to this beautiful, beautiful pair called the DXY. Right now, on the weekly time frame for this week, an area I would like to see us travel back into will basically be this region, which is coming through at 102.348, right? As this is finding itself lining up with a previous area of support now basically turn into resistance. So I would like to see if we can have a further pushback into this area. Obviously, if we can see a closure above, you know what, we will then have a further continuation move back towards the upside. Because how I'm basically looking at price is, you know what, we are gonna find ourselves having, you know what, we have to move in impulses and corrections, right? So we need to see one major area being broken before seeing it go to the next area. And the first area will basically be this region right over there. So if we can see that closure above, you know what, there would be a high possibility for us having a further continuation move back towards the upside as well. Or, you know what, if we are going to have a rejection from this area, then obviously, you know what, we will find ourselves having a shift back towards the downside, right? But ultimately for this week, I would like to see some buying opportunities finding itself opening up on the DXY, right? So I don't necessarily have to go to the daily time frame, but you know what, let's go to the daily time frame and let me show you what is happening over here. So like I mentioned, right, we are having sell side liquidity right over here. And with us basically having sell side liquidity, if I can maybe just, you know, zoom price in a little bit, we said that over the course of last week, if we can have a closure above this candle right over there, you know what, we are going to find ourselves changing market structure to bullish. So this simply means that there's a high possibility for us then having a further continuation move back towards the upside, back into this up close candle right over there, right? So currently we can see that we are actually having a closure above. So I am expecting some sort of initial pullback for a further continuation move back towards the upside, because you know what, the exact same thing is finding itself or did find itself happening over here as well. Look at that. We find ourselves having a closure above this up close candle right over there, came back for the retest. There we had the shift back towards the upside, right? So now we are finding ourselves having another formation quite like that one right over there as well. So a pullback for a further continuation would be appreciated when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the DXY, right? So for this week, I am expecting somewhat of bullish momentum to find itself coming through when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the DXY. If you have any questions whatsoever, drop it in the comment section, right? Drop it in the comment section. If you have a clear understanding, you know what, just give me a thumbs up in the comment section as well. I will highly appreciate that, right? So let's go over to the NASDAQ. All right. So on a monthly time frame, we can actually see that we did find ourselves having a bullish closure, right? We can see that this market is overly extended to the upside, right? We have a beautiful high to us now finding ourselves creating a higher high. But with us basically creating this higher high, we can see that we did leave a beautiful hammer candle right over there as well, right? So this simply means that there is still that possibility of us basically having that shift back towards the upside when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ. Now, how do we know does price move, right? How do we know that price is not going to find itself opening up and then just all of a sudden it's going to shift towards the upside, right? Keep in mind that this is the monthly time frame. We will find ourselves having to go, you know what, create some sort of a wick, right? Have some sort of a pullback towards the downside before seeing that shift back towards the upside, right? So at this current moment, we are now basically just want to find ourselves participating with the shift back towards the downside, see where we can find ourselves reaching into, and then, you know what, find ourselves looking for those beautiful upside momentum when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ, right? But currently, not much to say when it comes down to our monthly time frame. All right, scaling to our weekly time frame over here, right? Getting to our weekly time frame. So first of all, we did point out this fee value gap right over there, and we can currently see that we did find ourselves tapping within the fee value gap, and we can see that we are having some sort of initial pushback towards the downside from that area. A deeper point of interest was basically this inversion fee value gap, which we find ourselves creating right over there, right? But ultimately, we can see that we had a beautiful rejection from our fair value gap. Now, this candle right over here is a special candle, right? This is a hangman candle right over here, which is basically finding itself coming through at an area of, resistance, right? So what price needs to find itself doing, or how I'm looking at it, is that price needs to find itself come filling up this wick right over there, right? Price needs to find itself filling up that wick. So with me basically looking for some beautiful potential bullish momentum finding itself opening up on the DXY, I basically want to see some beautiful shorts find itself opening up on this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ, right? And on the weekly time frame, I would like to see us basically filling up this wick, which we have found ourselves creating right over there. All right, now if I can maybe just find myself boxing out the body, just like that, right? I don't want to see the NASDAQ find itself taking out that top wick right over there. Okay, I don't want to see the NASDAQ find itself taking out that top wick over there, because currently if we are going to look at wick structure, we can clearly see that we are having a beautiful high, higher high, lower high right over there. If we're going to look at wick structure, which market consists out of a lower high, a bearish market, right? Let's look at the lows as well. Let's look at the lows. We can see that we are having a beautiful low, higher low, lower low, which market consists out of a lower low, a bearish market. All right, so with us basically looking at wick structure, I would like to see us have some sort of initial pushback towards the upside and then have that shift back towards the downside to find itself filling up this wick right over there, right? So that is it when it comes down to the weekly time frame on this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ. So looking at what is happening on the daily time frame, right? So the daily time frame is quite interesting. We can see that we had this inversion fair value gap right over there, and we can see that price found itself tapping within it, rejecting, tapping within it, rejecting, tapping within it, rejecting. And we find ourselves tapping in that area once again, and we did find ourselves having some sort of a rejection from that area onwards, right? So with me looking at that candle, I'm basically looking at it as, you know what, we have like that right there is the previous week's closure, right? So I'm looking at it as we are having a beautiful, beautiful impulsive move back towards the downside like that for a beautiful correction for the next impulsive move back towards the downside, right? So this will basically be the impulse correction. So, well, the impulse correction for the next impulsive move back towards the downside, right? So daily time frame, you know what? I would like to see us have some sort of initial shift back towards the downside. And once we can find ourselves taking out a wick, right, that will basically be a confirmation that we are having that shift back towards the downside, right? So this can potentially find itself happening only over the course of, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then have that beautiful shift back towards the downside. All right, so let's go to our H4 time frame, see if our H4 time frame is basically going hand in hand with what we are saying. Right now, to me, Diego, these highs, they are still looking quite sus to me, right? They are still looking like some relatively equal highs in my eyes, right? So with me basically looking at these highs, right, which I am referring to, these highs, they are still looking quite sus to me. So I won't be surprised if we can find ourselves having a further continuation move back towards the upside, take out these beautiful highs, and then find itself having a shift back towards the downside, right? Keep in mind, I said that I don't want to see us take out the previous high right over there, right? So with me pointing out this area right over there, that area is finding itself serving as an area of supply, which will basically be a point of interest to where I would like to see us, you know what, if we can have that shift to the upside, this will be an area to where I would like to see us have some sort of an actual dip back towards the downside. All right, and that's also why I made mention over the course of Tuesday or Wednesday only, we can potentially see the shift back towards the downside. All right. Because if we are going to look at the daily time frame, if I maybe can go back, you know what, if we will have to wait for price to have a closure below this candle right over there, you know what, that is around about 200 odd post move, 200 odd pops towards the downside, which is quite a lot, right? So maybe we can find ourselves closing like a smaller candle whatsoever, which is more closer to the actual, the low of the week. If we get there, I will find myself explaining that as well. However, we want to see an actual low being taken out, right? So yeah, that is my outlook when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq. That we can also see below price, we actually did find ourselves opening up a volume imbalance as well, right? And we can see that price never ever found itself coming back into the volume imbalance. So this is definitely an area to where I would love to see the Nasdaq find itself coming back into. And that right there is my outlook when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq. I would like to see some beautiful shorts finding itself opening up, right? And obviously, if we are going to find ourselves taking out those highs, I will find myself updating you guys on that. But other than that, you know what? I would like to see some shorts finding itself opening up. Let me know in the comment section, what is your thoughts? What is your bias over the course of this week? Are you looking for some beautiful longs? Are you finding yourself looking for some beautiful shorts? Let me know. Other than that, you know what? It's me, your boy D. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. I'm out.